Putin viewed as great competitor, but still a U.S. adversary as Ukraine negotiations loom. Leavitt says the Trump administration simultaneously views Russian President Vladimir Putin as a great competitor and adversary as it hashes out negotiations regarding the war in Ukraine. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said during a Wednesday press conference, "I believe this nation views Putin and Russia as a great competitor in the region, at times an adversary," Leavitt said when asked how President Donald Trump views Russia and Putin. But as the president has said, as well, he enjoys having good diplomatic relations with leaders around the world, finding that common ground, also calling them out when they are wrong, leading from a position of peace through strength. That's the president's greatest strength. Just ahead of the Wednesday afternoon press conference, Trump announced on Truth Social that he had spoken to Putin on the phone and the two had agreed to begin negotiations over ending the war in Ukraine. "We agreed to work together very closely, including visiting each other's nations," Trump posted to Truth Social. "We have also agreed to have our respective teams start negotiations immediately, and we will begin by calling President Zelensky of Ukraine to inform him of the conversation, something which I will be doing right now. I have asked Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Director of the CIA John Ratcliffe, National Security Advisor Michael Waltz, and Ambassador and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff to lead the negotiations which, I feel strongly, will be successful." Russia and Ukraine have been at war since February 2022, when Russia first invaded its neighboring nation. Trump has said while on the 2024 campaign trail that he would end the war if re-elected, while claiming it would never have begun if he had been in the Oval Office at the time. Leavitt was peppered with a handful of questions surrounding the negotiations, including why the Trump administration's special envoy for Ukraine and Russia, retired Army Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, was not included on Trump's list of U.S. officials leading the negotiations. "Kellogg remains a critical part of this team in this effort," Leavitt said. "He's played a tremendous role in getting the negotiations to this point, and he's very much still part of the Trump administration." The president, in his truth following the phone call with Vladimir Putin, said that he has asked Secretary of State Rubio, the Director of the CIA John Ratcliffe, our National Security Advisor here at the White House, Michael Waltz and Steve Witkoff, to lead the negotiations, she said. The Kremlin posted a Russian-language readout of the phone call with Trump on Wednesday, which was translated into English, and it reported Putin invited Trump to Moscow. Leavitt said she did not have any details to share on a potential visit to the country. Trump posted a follow-up Truth Social post on Wednesday that he also spoke with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, remarking the conversation went very well. "He, like President Putin, wants to make peace," Trump wrote. "We discussed a variety of topics having to do with the war, but mostly the meeting that is being set up on Friday in Munich, where Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio will lead the delegation. I am hopeful that the results of that meeting will be positive. It is time to stop this ridiculous war where there has been massive and totally unnecessary death and destruction. God bless the people of Russia and Ukraine." The announcement of the initiation of peace negotiations follows the return of Mark Fogel to the U.S. on Tuesday. Fogel is a grade school teacher from Pennsylvania who was arrested in Russia in 2021 for possession of marijuana in an airport. He was sentenced to 14 years in prison before the U.S. secured his release. "I want to thank President Putin for his time and effort with respect to this call, and for the release, yesterday, of Mark Fogel, a wonderful man that I personally greeted last night at the White House," Trump added of the release in his Truth Social post earlier Wednesday. "I believe this effort will lead to a successful conclusion, hopefully soon."